it's not for you to present, but for the committee to engage immediately on the issues arising out of adjustment. And your response will be your presentation. So without much ado, honorable members, can you, before you start, Mpuse would preferably entertain the HOD and the CFO. I know you have the whole team. So I don't know whether the whole team will deal with adjustment. I prefer that, but that will be dictated to by what might arise out of the questions that will be asked. Mpuse, CFO, HOD.
Thank you, Chairperson. HOD, good morning, sir. May you please stand and switch on the mic? Will you be taking an oath or an affirmation?
An affirmation.
Please just speak into the mic.
An affirmation.
And do you consider this affirmation binding on your conscience?
Yes, I do.
Please state your full names for the record.
Molatu Chabalala.
Do you declare what you're about to tell the committee is the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please affirm.
I affirm so.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Morning, Daddy.
Good morning.
Will you be taking an oath or an affirmation?
An oath, please.
And do you consider this oath binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Please state your full names for the record.
Pule David Riba.
Do you swear what you're about to tell the committee is the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Ke a leboha, Chairperson. Ke a leboha.
Thank you. You know, when you deal with people of arts and culture, they might be Rastafarians, so you might hear, "So help Aisha." Honorable members, I met your mercy. That Skwebela.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to honorable members, and good morning to MEC and your team. Mine is just to say that we have seen that there's around, I don't know if it's 23,000 or 2,300 or 23 million, because we had a problem with these figures yesterday, Chair, that the money that is going to be surrendered, it was for what, and why was it, why do we have to lose it? And then number two, Chair, just to be short, is to say that the MEC, I know that she's requesting more money for the department, but now when you look in terms of their spending performance, particularly on infrastructure, it's sitting at 28%, and that contradicts, it's below the norm, and that contradicts what the MEC would want us to always push for as this particular committee. Perhaps what are the reasons, why are the delays, why are you not spending in accordance to the norm? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I see that on payments for capital assets, there's been a reduction of 1.2 million. If you could maybe just indicate why that is. And then as well as with buildings and other fixed structures, there's also a decline of 1.2 million. If you could just give us more information on that, we would very much appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning to the department. Chair, yes, just to add to my colleagues, in terms of Program 2 Cultural Affairs, there's the infrastructure enhancement allocation. There's a decrease of 6.3 million. And then similarly on Program 4 Sports and Recreation, again on infrastructure enhancement allocation, a decrease of 10.1 million. And then under museum services as well, there's a decline of 4.4 million. If we could just get an indication, but especially on the infrastructure, if we have a look to a lot of our infrastructure in terms of sporting facilities as well as museums, why isn't that infrastructure enhancement allocation being spent? And if it's being shifted, where is it being shifted to? Thank you, Chair.
Over to you, HOD.
Thanks, Chair. I'll refer the questions to the CFO.
No, thank you, Chairperson. I'm just not sure with the surrender. I wanted more clarity in that issue, but then I think we'll come to that. Sorry, yes. The issue of surrendering, I would like to get more details on that. But then on the 28%, I think when we presented our quarterly report, we indicated that there was slow spending under your infrastructure, but then will then coming now in terms of your adjustment will then be reprioritizing to make sure that we close that gap. So there are this question goes together with the issues that is raised by honorable member in terms of the 6.3, the 10.1 and the 4 million. So the 6.3 deals with the infrastructure. We have, if members can recall, the Smithfield was cancelled. Now we needed to make sure that we realign that budget, but then we then prioritize maintenance to make sure that we move that money from the capital budget, because now we have to go out on tender, start the process again, and have a new contractor appointed. Then, so as we are looking at our cash flow as well as our spending, we will not make it up until the financial year, and then we had to reprioritize those money where we can be able to fast track the spending. But then in terms of the spending, you'll see, in terms of your museum, the 4 million, it was also for Nalen. Already they have finalized the issue of conditional assessment. I think we'll sometime come and present that. Then we'll see the shocking numbers that we need close to 53 million to deal with that structure, of which we only had 3 million allocated for that. So we also took the money to the maintenance to deal with, especially with the roofing issues, so that at least while we are trying to source money for other issues, we can deal with the roofing, because now the roofing is collapsing and is causing too much damage in terms of dealing with other issues. But the other issue of 1.2 million is for the BCV. I think honorable members will also know that the deck in the BCV is dilapidated. So we are moving that to maintenance so that we can maintain that deck and make sure that it's in good condition. I think with Hodumodumu, the influx there is too much now. There's more people going there, so we want to keep it in a nice condition to make sure that it's more presentable. I would like to get more honorable member in terms of the surrendering of amount, because we do not plan to surrender any amount in this current financial year. Thank you, Chair.
So you didn't surrender anything?
No, we are not planning to surrender anything.
You did not surrender anything? Okay. Okay.
We need more. We can't be surrendering.
Oh.
Thank you, Chair. No, it's under your conditional grants rollovers. You had your adjusted budget is 229,286, and then your audited expenditure is 229,263, and then there's deviation of 23, and then to be surrendered is 23. Under conditional grants rollovers, I think it's 23,000. Yes, it was for what?
Yeah. No, Chair, I think I would like to have that. I would not want to take chance. I will need to look into that correctly and accurately. So
Maybe Tatongoma can give an explanation.
yeah.
No, thank you, Chair. Greetings. It's your library services grant. There was just a deviation of 23,000 that you did not spend 100%. So the 23,000 had to be surrendered back. Thank you.
All right, no, Chairperson, we'll look into that. For us, it's immaterial with library service. We know that the biggest issue that we had is on infrastructure in terms of your CD paying and what. But if that money, then we'll look into that, Chairperson, to see exactly what was that under the conditional grant. Because the issue of conditional grant that we had is under the infrastructure, not that small fraction of amount. Because we had 6 million of CD paying, which we needed to reprioritize, and which we were given approval to do so. So we'll close that gap.
So it should be, Treasury takes money from you and they don't tell you.
Chair, I think 23,000 will be very, in fact, it's insignificant. We will check.
It's not insignificant because it's taken from you and you are not aware.
Yes, I think I'll really check, Chair, but I was not aware of that. If we did not spend 100% on conditional grant, but I think it normally happens. You have one rent and all those things that you would not spend the whole of it. But we taking that. I was quite worried when the member was raising 23 million, and I immediately asked, but if it's 23,000, Chair, I know it's quite a lot of money, but in terms of how we spend, I mean, we're dealing with a lot of money in terms of, I mean,
For library
about
service,
180 million.
For library services, it's a lot of things that you can get.
With 23,000.
23,000, yeah.
No, I agree, Chair. I think we'll look into that and check how did it happen.
Honorable members, I think that brings us to the end of the interaction with the department. If you want to say something, MEC, it's your time, or if you are just happy with seeing us so early in the morning, so be it. You can go and ensure that this weekend when Kaizer Chiefs play, you watch it, and not any other team.
No, thank you, Chair, and good morning, honourable members. I don't have much to say. My cry and my plea is known to this committee. That is why I was shocked when the chairperson of our portfolio committee was talking about us surrendering 6 million. So I was shocked, but I'm happy that is not the case, and thank you very much for having us. That's all I can say for now.
Thank you, but it should be worrying that money is taken from you and you're not aware.
The 23, Chair, I was going to discuss it with HOD and CFO thereafter. I think we presented at some point our challenge of the Program 3 director retired in July, and unfortunately, this thing of freezing the posts when they get available, there was no deputy director, because when the deputy director was promoted, go Program 3 library services, then it left somebody. I'm trying to say there was nobody to look into the nitty-gritties of that
Treasury
library.
did not tell you that
Yes.
is taking money.
That is an issue.
That is, yes, that's what you have to follow up when you live here. Thank you, MEC. Watch Kaizer Chiefs over the weekend.
No, I can't, because they are going to beat it, so I can't watch Kaizer Chiefs.
HOD, good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Chairperson.
Bring it closer to you, yes.
Good morning, Chairperson.
And that one of the MEC, bring it closer to her. It's mobile. CFO, is it nearer to you? Yes. If you can just tell it closer to you, yes. Then, let me see what we are dealing with. We are just focusing on adjustment, not on issues of oversight. So what we are going to do is just to get the HOD and the CFO to FONGA only, and then we don't need your presentation to be done. It will be questions coming from members and then responses coming from you. So those responses coming from you will obviously be your presentation. Mempuse.
Thank you, Chairperson. Ntate Mtolo, good morning. Over here. I'm here, in front of you. May you please stand? Ntate Mtolo, will you be taking an oath or an affirmation?
An affirmation.
And do you consider this affirmation binding on your conscience?
Yes, I do.
Please state your full names for the record.
Sizamtolo.
Do you declare what you're about to tell the committee is the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please affirm.
I affirm.
Thank you, Ntate Mtolo. Morning. Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Will you be taking an oath or an affirmation?
An affirmation.
And do you consider this affirmation binding on your conscience?
Yes, I do.
Please state your full names for the record.
Thank you, Prudence Panyani.
Do you declare what you're about to tell the committee is the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please affirm.
Yes, I affirm.
Thank you. Chairperson, thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members,
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, MEC and your team, and HOD. Mine is to say that, one, we have seen that in terms of your performance on conditional grant, you are sitting at 96%, and this is the second, it was by the end of the second quarter, we were sitting at 96%. But when you look at your infrastructure performance, you are sitting at 14.8%. So my question then is, which of those grants that you receive that you are spending so much on them than the one of the infrastructure, and what makes you to lag behind the norm in terms of your expenditure, particularly on the infrastructure, given that it must be or maybe your core mandate? And then the other one is on, you have a rollover of the requested rollover. I think it was 7 million, 7.3 million. It was for where do you locate it, and it was for what? And then the last question is the money to be surrendered. I know that the MEC is very strong on the issue of budget maintenance, and then there's a need to increase the budget, particularly for the facilities. But this picture, when it sits like this, it seems like it contradicts what the MEC would want and what the committee would agree with the MEC. If you were now surrendered, I think that is 87,000. It would speak, it will put a perspective that perhaps you have the capacity to spend or what, would not know what is, but why is this money was surrendered and where do you locate it, it was for what? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just want to ask, on page 2, it is indicated that there's an additional amount of 62 million for municipal services. If you could maybe just indicate where that comes from. But then on page 4, it also indicates a 62 million rand for public works infrastructure. So if you could maybe just clarify, is the money going to be used to pay municipal services, or is it going to be used to upgrade infrastructure? Thank you.
Chair, thank you. I've been covered by Honourable Leach in terms of the additional funding towards municipal services, rates and taxes. Thank you, Chair.
Over to you, MC.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to yourself and members of the committee. Honourable members, given the budget adjustment that was presented yesterday, the department budget has been adjusted upwards to cover the municipal services. The 62 million comes as an addition to the current budget to cover the municipal services. We must indicate that that amount, as things stands, is not enough. We previously, in 2023-2024, during the adjustment budget, we got about 180 million, which was still not enough. In 2024-2025, we got 120 million during the adjustment budget. 2025-2026, we are getting 62 million. It clearly indicates that we are going downwards when we were supposed at least to cover the accruals. That means our accruals will continue to rise even with this particular adjustment budget. However, we must indicate the Executive Council has taken a posture or a resolution that in the 2026, 2027, 2028 financial year, our budget will be going a little bit, will be more to make additions to municipal services, rates and taxes. In terms of conditional grants, the department can receive only one conditional grant, which is on EPWP. Because of the need to, in as far as unemployment rate because of unemployment rate in the province, the department has taken a posture to make additional allocation to EPWP out of its own coffers. That's why the conditional grant is about 6 million. We make an addition of about 34 million to make it 40 million. If you look at our allocation for EPWP is about 40 million. Normally, what we would do, we would start with a conditional grant to use it for that particular purpose so that we are able to exhaust it. And then thereafter, in the following quarters, we then start utilizing our own equitable share for that particular purpose, so that we don't lose, because when you don't spend your equitable your conditional grant, you're bound to lose that additional money in the next financial year. That's why we would start with the conditional grant first. And then from there, we will then begin to utilize our own equitable share, which has been allocated to EPWP. Therefore, those were the discrepancies in as far as equitable share is concerned. When it comes to, there was an issue about infrastructure. In our quarterly review, we did indicate that we made an observation in the first quarter that there were discrepancies in as far as what was in the APP and what was in the B5. The B5, that's where we allocate resources for particular projects. We have not, in this particular process of adjustment budgets, we have also made sure that we move resources to projects that we would want to implement, which are already, the process has already started, and we believe by the end of this quarter, including towards the fourth quarter, those particular projects would have started. Those are internal projects. You would see that in as far as our projects are concerned, the department does maintenance on buildings that are state-owned, that are shared services. Where individual departments are located buildings in a form of a state building, they are responsible for their own maintenance. So those projects will be coming through, including your solars and so forth and so on. There were delays in as far as procurement, as indicated previously, that on issues of solars, there were complaints about solars that were installed in the parliamentary village. Therefore, we had to withdraw certain procurement processes because almost the same service providers were appointed to do the work when already there was issues in terms of complaints in as far as the work that was done. However, we are pushing very hard that in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, those projects should be finalized. We also had to terminate certain appointed contractors who were delaying processes, who had issues, like we've made a commitment. Where there are issues with contractors, we must terminate and start processes. But those processes, however, they delay expenditure. But we are hopeful as we move towards the fourth quarter, we would have managed to use those particular resources, the expenditure would have gone up. With other issues, I would allow HOD and the CFO to respond to those particular issues. But generally, the department has received a 63 million as part of the adjustment. I'm not sure, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm subjected to be corrected. Our conditional, not the conditional grant, the additional money outside the 62 million was the rollover. But our rollover was 1.8 million, not 1.7. And we are grateful that at least we are able to utilize that particular 1.8 million in this particular financial year. With the 85,000, I'm hopeful that the CFO will be able, and HOD will be able to respond to it. But my suspicion is, remember, there are resources such as compensation of employees, where you are unable, whether you like it or not, unable to shift resources because of they are earmarked. However, if maybe I made a mistake in terms of I'm subjected to be corrected to be assisted by both the HOD and the CFO on that issue, because I think that is the only matter that is still outstanding. But generally, the 62 million will definitely go to rates and taxes, like we have always indicated. The delays also in terms of us meeting targets in as far as rates and taxes has been delays by municipalities that have not adjusted their, what do you call that thing? The rates. It was Machabeng and Mangaung, but Mangaung has dealt with its issue. We are just left with Machabeng. That must make sure that they do it. Like we've indicated, Chair, in previous meetings, that for us to pay municipalities is a priority. So it also depends on them billing the department so that we are able to process payment. Payments to municipalities, we never have challenges with them because as long as we've got a proper bill, we are able to process it immediately.
No, thank you very much, MEC, and then honorable members. I think the MEC has covered us properly, also on the issue of the 85,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Just follow-ups on what was mentioned. In terms of the EPWPs that the MEC mentioned, do the EPWPs also assist with the maintenance of the buildings? And then can we maybe get some feedback on what is currently happening with the Raadsel? And then just the last one, with the 62 million that will now go towards municipal debt, what will the outstanding total amount be after the 62 million? And will schools, clinics and hospitals be prioritized when paying the accounts? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, yes, just in the previous presentation by Sports, Arts and Culture, they mentioned the old government building. The initial assessment seems where the Ding Gol Weng Sesotho Museum is being hosted, as well as the Afrikaans National Literature Museum. They require about 53 million for the maintenance there of that building, which is, again, if one looks to the budgets and so forth, it's quite, if you look to Sport, Arts and Culture's budget, it's almost 5% of its total budget. So I'm just concerned in general in terms of our preventative maintenance at a lot of our buildings. And I know the MEC has spoken about the increase in the use and training of our own artisans. So it's really something that I hope we can see in future, preventative maintenance, just basic things like the cleaning of gutters, tiles and so forth, that can actually prevent a lot of damage and millions being spent. But I do get a lot of questions from members of the public about two projects. The Free State House, the one that burned down. If you can just get an indication, I would presume that would be also a multi-million rand project. It has been an iconic building of the Free State, and I think an icon of the province. And then as well, a lot of times I do get questions regarding the dry restaurant, the turning restaurant there in Fidel Castro there at the top. Is there any plans in future perhaps to revitalize that, or to perhaps put it on tender for a public-private initiative? I really think it's very iconic, and it's a space we can utilize to host dignitaries and to really get into, a lot of good publicity for the city, tourism, etc. If we could just get an indication on those two projects. And then really I do think preventative maintenance perhaps in the past has something that has been lacking. I think a lot of things, a lot of the damage that has been done at our buildings could have been prevented to a large extent. Thank you, Chair.
I'll be quick, Chairperson. Just adding to Honourable Leach, the 62 million for municipal services, is that sufficient going to the end of the financial year? That's it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Just a follow-up. The MEC says the 87,000 or 85, it's for compensation of employees. So I want to understand, is it still the APWP grant if it's a compensation of the employees? Yeah, I just want clarity on that.
Yeah, maybe also to clarify that thing, what this issue of match-upping, is it the rates and, what is it, determination of rates and taxes? So they have not done that as yet, so that you can have the clean, because remember that the part of the intervention is about it's about financial recovery plan.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me start with the one of the 85,000. It's not part of the grant. Normally the grant, we utilize it. By the second quarter, the grant is finished. That's why we're standing at 90, is it 92% plus? So it's not. We have never sent a grant money back to the coffers of Treasury. Number two is around the Free State House. The Free State House, as things stands, the Free State House is budgeted about 10 million for restoration. We have already appointed consultants. The contractor who was supposed to remove the rubble was appointed and the work has been done. We are hoping before the end of financial year, we would have appointed the contractor. There were delays, of course, in as far as the Free State House is concerned. Like Honourable Member has indicated, it's a heritage, it's quite an iconic property of the state. Therefore, when it burned down, we ought to wait for all the processes, including the investigation, the SSA to come on board and everything else that needed to happen. So we did exactly that. We waited for the report. We had received the report as a department. Therefore, we were then given a go-ahead to begin with the restoration of the house. Now, as things stand, like I've indicated, the consultants who are working on the drawings of the house, they are almost finished. They're almost finished with the work. However, we'll await that particular process of now appointing the contractor. The discussion about whether we restore it to its old, how it looked like, is now yet another conversation, but not for today, I want to believe. But the process is moving at a very, it moved at a very slow pace because of the challenges that we encountered. But at this point in time, we are progressing quite well. The issues of maintenance of our buildings, it is our wish as a department to do what we call preventative maintenance, because it's important. Like we've always indicated, our department should not be focusing on cutting ribbons, but the lifespan of our institutions, which requires a routine maintenance. However, when at the tail end of the 6th administration, we launched what we call Artisan Development Program. The intention was to appoint at least 1,000 trainees to that particular program so that we can begin to maintain our buildings. As things stands, we have appointed about 256, which these young men and women who are participating in this particular program have been able to assist us to maintain certain projects. One key project that they have been working on, it was the Metfontein building. We have done the top floor and the third floor. We are almost done there. We're just finalizing the other floors. The same artisans have been able to restore the Glen College. There was an issue with Glen College at some point where students have protested and so forth and so on. The artisans of the department were part of the team that was sent to Glen College. Within about 3 weeks, the Glen College was able to reopen with assistance of our works team, including our artisans. Honorable members, like I've indicated, individual departments receive their own allocation for maintenance. All departments, they receive about, I'm not sure what is the allocation, but I want to believe 2% of their total budget goes to maintenance. They receive all their maintenance budget. That means when we speak about a museum is a facility that is under the stewardship of Department of Sports. Therefore, they are responsible for that particular maintenance. Where we come in as a department is where there is shared service. What do we mean when we speak about shared service? Our Tambo and Fidel Castro buildings, there are more than 2 departments that are there. That means the Department of Public Works then becomes responsible for maintenance. Our Tambo is ourselves as Public Works, COGTA, Human Settlement, Office of the Premier. Therefore, we are then responsible for that. Therefore, where individual departments are located, space, especially state-owned buildings, state-owned buildings, they are therefore responsible. This is a conversation that we are taking to EXCO. And we have discussed it on the sidelines with the Premier to indicate that we would really want to take maintenance so that we take responsibility. Because when a building is closed, it becomes an issue of the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. For instance, when Metfontein was closed, it was used solemnly by the Department of Community Safety, Roads and Transport. And when they were taken out, it became our problem because we now need to find space for them to be allocated so that they can operate from. However, we have taken a posture that we will restore Metfontein building, but we are going to take our own officials to that particular building so that we continue to maintain that particular building. With the Ratsal, we have been going back and forth in terms of who is responsible. However, although EXCO has not finalized this particular posture, but as the department during our quarterly review, we have taken a posture that says we will now take over the maintenance of the Ratsal, because with what is happening there, it's not only a better reflection on the legislature, but on government itself. So we, in the 2026, 27, 27, 28, we have made allocations. I think we would require about 42 million for that particular purposes. Therefore, we have budgeted 42 million, but in tranches for different financial years so that we can really take care of the legislature. We maintain that particular building, like you have all indicated, Honorable Member, is an iconic building of the state. Therefore, it had to really be restored to its former glory. In as far as the restaurant, the rotating restaurant at Fidel Castro, this particular restaurant, together with other restaurants in clinics and so forth and so on, they were put on tender for purposes of those who would have interest to utilize this particular building. We must indicate we have not enjoyed a positive response from the market. There was a complaint that the rent seems to be too high for those who would wish to utilize it. However, we have, in one of the oversight that we did as a department, I managed to go and see how it looks like and what is it that we can do. We will be putting it as part of our plans. But remember, even if we make a restaurant there, even if it's whoever runs it, there are issues in as far as it's on top of a building that is used by government. That means then you will also need to look at the safety of those who would want of our employees, because if any individual would want to use it or want to go there during the day, what does that say in terms of our safety? But there will be plans in as far as how do we utilize it further. We would have wanted to host our initial property summit there as part of showcasing resources that are utilized by the state, but given the limitations that we faced, we couldn't utilize it. We would really want to have our museums and certain properties that we can honestly and truly maintain. It's our wish. That's why we came up with an artisan development program, because those sites will then mean these young men and women will be allocated those sites to look after. We even said to EXCO, we could start with few departments, because to maintain the entire portfolio of property that is allocated Department of Education, it might not be it will not be feasible because they have too many schools. But we would want to start with sports, agriculture, COCTA, because they've got minimal buildings, and from there we take it bit by bit up until we are able to build what we call internal capacity. When it comes to issues of the rates and taxes or utilities, ordinarily we would pay municipalities, which would then, whom are billing us for schools, for clinics, and so forth and so on. So it comes as a consolidated account from different municipalities. So it does not come as per individual schools or individual clinics. You must remember, we don't pay for everyone, because there are schools that are being paid, that are paying their own electricity and water because of their quintal systems that is there. But with clinics and all other facilities that we are supposed to be paying for, it is done through a consolidated bill that comes through municipalities. I'm not sure if there is anything that I've left behind, but if there is, I'm sure HOD and CFO will then cover.
No, thank you. Thank you.
85,000.
Thank you very much, MEC. You've covered us. There was a question that was asked.
I'll chase him away.
Please.
There was a question that was asked that is the funds for municipal services enough?
Yeah.
They are not enough at all.
No, respond to me. If you don't respond to me, you will end up in this situation of responding to everyone in the room. Just respond to me.
Oh, okay, no,
So
thank you.
if the responses you have given are not enough, whoever asked the question will alert me. So when you look at me, I know I'm ugly. Just look at me.
Okay, no, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Yes, the money for municipal services is not enough. The MEC has presented to the Executive Council on the challenges that we are having in terms of the little funds that have been given to the department to pay municipalities. And there have been suggestions that the MEC has made to the Executive Council. For instance, because these services are also utilized by us as the provincial government, that maybe each department must take full responsibility of paying for for what they owe to municipalities. So there are those engagements that are taking place. But as of now, there is no finality in terms of how are we going to settle even the bill that we still owe to municipalities in terms of municipal services.
The issue of surrendered 87,000, it's not, you have not adequately responded to it. Where was that money allocated? Why was it surrendered? Maybe if you don't have an idea, the Dongoma maybe can give an indication. Oh, CFO knows. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think with the 87, this year we did not surrender any money. As of the first adjustment budget, it went up, we did not surrender any money. But however, in the previous year, money was surrendered, but it came from our unspent money from projects.
Etongom, please respond to that. The CFO does not know that the money was surrendered.
No, thank you, Chair. Greetings, MEC and the colleagues. Just to indicate that, to confirm that yes, the department, normally every year they add more from the equitable share in terms of EPWP. However, in terms of the grant itself, if you were to look into your AFS, you spend around 98%, so there was an under expenditure of 87,000, which was surrendered back. So it's there in your AFS. So maybe the other confusion, Chair, is that this 87,000 seems to be a common denominator, because in the current financial year, the department has spent 98%, and the remaining is 87,000, and so it kind of causes confusion. Thank you.
It's not causing confusion. Maybe to their budget is so negligent that they just overlook it. So money was surrendered. Mayor Dulani.
Thank you, Chairperson. Just my question with regards to what is the outstanding amount on municipal debt after the 62 million? And can you maybe distinguish between current account and historical debt, so that it adds to my colleague's question with regards to will it be enough to cover our current accounts up until the end of the financial year, not the historical debt. And then also, let me just rephrase with regards to the Raadsel, what is the reason that we cannot meet there at the moment? Thank you.
Thank you. I think when you go to slide 12, we have indicated for the MTEF allocation that we had on municipal services. We had 496 million allocated for municipal services for the current year. And then with the additional allocation of the 62 million, then we're sitting at 558 million. And then we have also indicated our projected billing, which is the 664 million. But as you can see, even with the current billing that we have, the 496 million we received is not even sufficient to cover our projected billing for the year. Now, if you go below that, we also have your accruals and payables from historic debt. That's sitting at 802 million. So with the 62 million that we got, our shortfall then decreased from 970 initially, and is now currently sitting at 908 million. So the money that we got is not sufficient to cover the debt for municipal services for the current year, and also historic debt relating to that. Thank you.
Chairperson, maybe just on a lighter note, NEC, you see how we're sitting here cramped in this building currently. Maybe you can assist us to expropriate that revolving restaurant, and we can have committee meetings up there. We can even have revolving chairpersons. So, but please expropriate it for us. Thank you.
Yeah, I think MEC
Thank you very much, Chair, and greetings to the MEC and the team. I just want to find out, MEC has mentioned that the 42 million has been required, even though it's going to be out in trenches for repairing Ratsal. Now, I just want to find out, since the Ratsal is a historic building, is it going to be rebuilt as well? Or is it only going to be a repair in that regard for that 42 million rand? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, yes, I just want to basically add to my preventative maintenance comment, is in terms of the municipal payments, is there an active campaign being run across the province and all departments in terms of informing our employees and users to really look at how they consume water and electricity, like a turn off the lights campaign, or a, you know, don't waste water campaign? I think if we even if we can save, you know, R1 in every building across this province, but I want us to have a slogan, whatever slogan there would be, like that says that people know, both clients as well as staff in the province, to know, listen, if you're not using a light in a building, switch it off. If there's a running water, the other day when we were in the Glaspaleis Mangaung, level 6, that one bathroom, the water was broken, the toilet was, I was just thinking how much millions of water is flushing there. But that the provincial government can really go out there with a strong campaign, and it's championed by everyone, the legislature as well as government, to say, listen, let's rethink how we use water and power, that we can bring this deficit of close to R1 billion down. I think we must also take responsibility as clients, and as well as staff members, how we utilize water and power. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Maybe one of the things that we had not responded to now, I'll request CFO respond to it, or someone from Property to just to check around the valuation role of Machabe. The Chair asked whether have they now responded to it, and have we been able to now do payments. Given our last meeting, we had not yet received valuation role, but maybe between now and then, I mean, there could have been movements, but as far as CFO will then update us if there has been there's been changes in as far as them submitting the valuation role, so that we are able to do payments for their arrears and taxes. It's quite important, honourable members, and we take this suggestion with open arms in relations to campaign on how we utilize water and electricity. I think it is one of the campaigns that we must begin to really rally as lead as the department. However, over and above issues of making an awareness, the department has been able for the past 6-7 years run a program on saving water through our water system. I'm sure even in the budget vote we have indicated that that particular program has been able to save us water, and we would want to continue with that particular program to other buildings as soon as possible. Number two, in as far as electricity is concerned, in this financial year, the plan was to appoint interns who are going to assist us with electricity, with us retrofitting all government buildings. This is a program that we wanted to do with CUT, but has delayed a bit because we have not concluded with CUT, because we would want to follow processes accurately, where we take those whether final year students or those who have just finished their work to put them in the system through internships, so that we can train them through this particular process of retrofitting all our buildings to ensure that we minimize the utility of electricity. Part of our program is also to finalize, if we were to get enough resources, we would go with the green ecosystem in as far as putting solars on our big, especially our big buildings where we are utilizing more. We would want to put such in schools, but we have already observed the vandalism, not only the criminality that goes with putting solar on buildings when you don't have sufficient security. However, we would be proceeding with such initiatives with an intention of taking our bill down. But over and above issues of campaigns, water and electricity, last week Thursday we hosted a property summit where we are now putting some of our buildings, of course with the processes that will follow, with focuses on triple Ps, on how we remove maybe utilizing our existing properties that have not been utilized, revitalizing our property portfolio so that we can actually generate more revenue so that we are able to pay off our bills. The issue relating to Ratsal, that Dion is with us, but unfortunately did not take an oath earlier, so therefore he cannot be given an opportunity to respond. There are issues in relation to fungus with the Ratsal, which leads to health issues of members, as well as ceiling that might drop off, therefore putting members and employees of the legislature in danger. But these are the things that we would be able to deal with as an issue of immediate, but we are hoping with the process that I've made reference to, that we will be able to restore the legislature. But we will not rebuild the legislature at the moment with the 42 billion. The intention is to repair the existing building. We must also indicate, Chair, as part of prospects that we are having as the department, we would really wish that during this particular term, a process to build a new legislature for the Free State province begins. We are the only province in the country that has not built a new legislature. But now it goes with priorities. Do we prioritize the legislature, or do we prioritize health facilities and clinics and schools and so forth and so on? We will then have to bring that conversation here so that maybe to a large extent we be guided. But there is a need for members, including employees of the legislature, to work in an environment that is conducive, that is safe. It is a responsibility of government to do so. But like we've indicated, we are hopeful with the assessment that has been done, 42 million will be sufficient to be able to restore a legislature to a form where it's habitable, that members can operate from. Thank you very much, Chair. And I will then hand over to both the HOD and the CFO to indicate whether indeed Machabeng has submitted their valuation roll so that we are able to pay.
Thank you very much, MEC and members. The evaluation has not yet been submitted, but what we're going to do, we'll make a follow-up. I know the team at Property is always making a follow-up as to check as to when they are going to submit in order for us to be in a position to make payments. But we'll make a follow-up.
MEC, I think this brings us to the end of our interaction. But I think what emerged out of the discussions points to the issue that members of the legislature had requested to interact with the Premier on cross-cutting issues of government. The issue of municipal debts is not your burden. The issue of maintenance of heritage sites is not your burden. All these issues goes to the issue of questions. It's because of the decisions of government in relation to how the government has crafted departments paying, maintaining, attributed to yourselves, others to the departments, the line departments. That brings a confusion. As an example, the street that we are talking about, the President Brand Street, it's a heritage site in itself. How do you have a situation where Public Works take responsibility of taking care of Ratsal, but presidency the language library. So it therefore says that if tourism market tourism products and decides on priority, who is responsible for maintenance of facilities in that street. So all those things deserves government discussion, which is why we then decided that we really have to have conversation with government, with the Premier. That conversation with the Premier was not meant for anything else, but to try to raise issues that we see as gaps as we interact with the different departments. That also goes to the question of budgeting. Every department, when they come here, they want more money. Once they want more money, it then goes back to the exercise that we are engaged in now, adjustment. What informs adjustment? Why do you take money from here to that? So all these issues goes back to the issue of priority of government. And how is it related to the fiscal policy of government? Is it because the adjustment was done in line with responding to priority to be the spheres of government? So that you don't have a situation where when municipality in the middle of nowhere because they don't have money, they then switch off to give. Thank you. Thank you. Is that from
in terms of allocation, it's just the rollover. In terms of allocation, it's just the rollover, equitable share rollover. But then within the
include the pretorials. Like the oath. The oath.
Still binding on it.
You bring it nearer to you.
Thanks, Chair, for...
Ma'am, please state your full names and nothing but the... Monime Anna, please state your full nothing but the truth. If so, please say so. How?
Did it include the tutorials?
Thank you, Chairperson. I think my question is only on the money allocated to Mafube. That 2 million rand, which is mainly, I think, if I read it correctly, for financial systems, which I think is necessary. And it's actually sad that the municipality is not able to plan. I get it. My question to operate that system, because thank you very much.
Of the rollover.
There have been rigged like system. We are
action, we must release. Good morning, Daddy Tumelo.
For the record, truth. Binding on your conscience.
Yes, I do.
Binding on your conscience.
Yes, I do.
Please is the truth and nothing but the truth. Kelebo. Please is the truth and nothing but the truth. Kelebo.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. Conditional grant. Thank you, Chair. Good morning. Conditional grant. The department. All from research.
What's to page 9 be enough?
To non-payment or for other reasons, but in this adjustment budget, for example, the 112 house structure that is stalled and the
Service pro. So, 100. A ball figure for 10 is going to amount to 10 is going to amount to 19.2 million. For us to ensure that we demolish or erect the BNG, then just so that's be used to on contract. And please, really,
Thank you, Department.
We look.
We do have, if you want, we do have, if you want to.
At 11:30. So,
Coordinate that.